We are perfectionists. We like living in an idealistic world. And the world is not like that. This is a realistic world. Things don't always happen the way we plan. Even if you have put out the best plans in the world, there's room for emergencies, there's room for exigencies, things we did not plan for. They may just show up. So when we set unreasonably high standards for ourselves, we have set ourselves up to fail. So I feel like instead of us to hold on to perfectionism, we should hold on to progress. Let us start measuring our progress and start celebrating our small wins, our small successes. Courage is not the absence of fear, but rather an assessment that there is something more important than fear. So it is basically you looking fear in the eye and saying, I rate the outcome of my action higher and weightier than you, the fear that is holding me back. Today we are going to be discussing on the concept of doing it afraid. That simply means taking action, even in the face or in the presence of fear or uncertainty. Fear is an emotional response to a perceived threat or danger. Fear is not alien to man. Fear is something that is prevalent with every human. There is nobody who would say that he has not felt this feeling of fear at some point in his life or the other. In fact, I feel like it's not even something that goes away totally. It comes, but it's the way you handle it and the way you can manage it that will determine the outcome of your circumstances, your situations, and your life in general. And so we find ourselves being very uncomfortable in certain environments, being very uncomfortable with certain tasks. And many a times that sense of discomfort is born out of fear. We are probably afraid of the outcome of that event, or maybe we are not very comfortable being around those sets of people we're afraid. And so it brings this sense of discomfort. You are asked to do a certain thing and you start having an increased heart rate, your heart is racing, or you start sweating profusely. These are effects of fear, physical effects of fear. You start having muscle tension, shallow breathing. Sometimes it is psychological. You start having panics. You start having some sort of avoidance, or even having very poor decision making. These are effects of fear. And so it is very important to learn healthy coping strategies that will help us to manage fear and prevent fear from manipulating our lives, or interfering with our lives, our well-being, and our success. I see fear as an inhibitor. I see fear as a limiting force, because when I look at my life, I realize that there are a lot of things that I should have done a long time ago that I put off, and I never did. Some I did much later, too late, if I may say. And I can blame it all on fear, because I feel like if I had not felt that unease, if I had not felt that fear, if I had not felt that doubt about myself, I would have done it a long time ago, and I would have had myself to thank for it. But looking back years later, looking back now, fast forward to now, I know that it was fear that had kept me back. I found myself procrastinating a lot, putting off action to much later, putting off action forever, like never doing what I'm supposed to do, or putting off action till when it's the dying minute. Many a times when I weigh those circumstances and situations, I realized that I was actually manifesting fear. I was probably afraid, and then I started procrastinating. I did not know it was fear. I felt like maybe I was not ready at the time, but the truth is that it was because of fear I was putting off taking action to later or to never. And that is how it is with most of us. Instead of us to do what we are supposed to do, we are so afraid and we start pushing it till further notice. And later, next week I'll do it. Next week comes and it's okay, next month. And then before you know, it's next year. It's 10 years later and we've still not done it. Many a times because we are afraid. Other times because we doubt ourselves. We start feeling very inadequate, like we are not good enough for that. Fear makes us feel like we cannot fit the part, like we are not good enough for it at all. That is fear. Many a times when we start feeling like that, because we are afraid. Sometimes we start avoiding things that we ought to do. Many a times there are some actions or some things that trigger fear. and it's good to avoid them. But what if those things are the things you need to do to help you achieve what you want to achieve? So the fact that that action triggers fear makes you put it off, and then you are unable to achieve what you need to achieve. So many a times when we are avoiding some circumstances, even if those circumstances trigger fear, maybe because we are afraid, other times we talk ourselves down, we don't believe in ourselves. Some other times we are just paralyzed, we can't do anything. Have you ever been called up the podium and you get there but your mouth cannot speak, like you get paralyzed physically, like you can't move at all? Fear is very bad, like it manifests in different ways, and it just inhibits us from achieving the much that we need to achieve. And that's why I am really, really serious about overcoming my fears. I'm really serious about not giving excuses anymore, doing what I'm supposed to do. And I hope that this will be your result to overcome fear and to reach your full potential. And so you may start asking, why do I have to even bother myself? What is in it for me? What do I stand to gain? Why do I have to start bothering myself about fighting some fears and all whatnot? Why don't I just maintain the status quo and live my life as I have always lived? For me, I feel like there are a ton of benefits to facing our fears, to overcoming our fears, because, like I said, fear is an inhibitor, and it means that there is something that is stopping you from doing, and it also means that there is a reward it is stopping you from achieving. And so I feel like it is something that you need to take very seriously. For me, I know that when you're able to overcome your fear, it helps to build your confidence. You become a very confident person because you feel like, I've been able to get through that in the past. I can do it again. I can take on new challenges. I can take on new opportunities. I'm not afraid of what is coming my way, whether it is known or unknown. So it helps to build your confidence in some way, because yes, you have achieved it before, you can reproduce that same outcome again. Also, it increases resilience, that even when you try and you fail, you're able to bounce back from such setbacks and adversity. It makes you a different person. A lot of people will fail once and not be able to try again. The truth is that if you fail that exam and you do not go back to rewrite it, your score will not change, your result will not change. The only way your result can change if you go back to retake that exam. And so that is resilience, bouncing back from that setback, being able to go back and try again. And that is what facing our fears can help us do, can help increase our resilience, can help take us away from our comfort zone, expanding us beyond our comfort zone. The truth is that sometimes when we feel afraid, it's not because there is an imminent danger. It may just be because our comfort zone is being threatened. Our comfort is being threatened. That's just it. We are people of comfort. We like to be comfortable. We like to just enjoy our life. I like it very much. But the truth is that for you to achieve greater results in life, you need to, in many cases, come out of your comfort zone. It may mean stretching you beyond boundaries, beyond borders. It may mean you doing things that you have never done before, you have never thought that it was possible for you to do, but it comes with a great reward. You'll be able to take on new challenges, take on new responsibilities with ease, taking on challenges with ease. So it leads to greater success. And also, our lives are open books, like people are watching. As you're living your life, people are watching. And so, as you keep on taking courage to overcome fears and all that, you're motivating other people, you're inspiring other people to do likewise. So, I feel like it is very important for us to look deeply into fighting our fears, overcoming our fears, because our lives will never remain the same if we can take certain actions, if we can put off this fear and take the right action. One thing I want us to understand is that this thing called fear is no respecter of person. It is not peculiar to you as an individual or you in a certain class, a certain social class, or a certain financial class, or whatever. It attacks just anybody. But it is our ability to fight through that matters. You know, once I was reading an article and they mentioned Serena Williams, the tennis champion, and I was bewildered at what I read because I felt like, is this even possible? You know, she has won a lot of titles here and there. And at the time where she had to take a break to go and have a child, she said, according to the article, that she said she had her struggles with anxiety and fear about coming back to the game, coming back to courts to play. And I was like, somebody who has won tons of awards, tons of titles, still feeling anxious, still feeling afraid. I was like, that means this thing can affect anybody, because when you see her, she oozes confidence, and you wouldn't even guess that she would be afraid for a minute. Like, she knows the game, she plays the game well, she knows these things. Why is she afraid? So you should understand that it affects just anybody. But she was able to come back, was able to win another title, and that was like her 23rd Grand Slam title. Yes, you see. So her ability to face her fear, her ability to take courage even in the face of fear, earned her an extra title. This is what can get anybody down, because yes, she has taken a break, and it's enough for her to say, okay, I'm not going back. Let me face my family. Let me take care of my child. But she faced her fear and she came back and she won the title. Michael Jordan, while he was in high school, he was taking off his high school basketball team. I just couldn't believe it, because I feel like that kind of talent. But the truth is that maybe he was a raw talent then, and he had not manifested in the way he did while he was in play, and so he was put off. But there was something very striking. He said that he turned his setbacks into motivation, and that is what I want everyone to live with. That whatever it is that they setback, be it fear or whatever it is, try to turn that setback into motivation. And so he motivated him, and he eventually became a six-time NBA champion and an Olympic gold medalist. So you can see that there are a lot of rewards with fighting and facing our fears. When we're able to face our fears, there's a lot waiting for us on the other side. So let us take courage and do the needful. I acknowledge that doing it afraid is not easy. It's not a walk in the park. It's not even the way I'm saying it, because talk is cheap. It's easier said than done. When you come face to face with real life events, it is not easy, because, like I said, sometimes when you're afraid, you lose your sense of judgment, your sense of reasoning. You can't make proper decisions. So it may not just be the way we are saying it. At that point, it may be very, very difficult to make a reasonable decision. But I want us to be prepared for the unknown, be prepared for the uncertain, be prepared for what is to come, because it may come in different shades and in different colors. Now, there are some obstacles that really we need to overcome for us to overcome fear. If we don't overcome these obstacles, it may be difficult to overcome our fears. One of which I feel is self-doubt. Self-doubt is really a problem. If you doubt yourself, my dear, you cannot overcome your fear. So I feel like instead of you to start talking down on yourself, start saying positive things about yourself. Instead of saying you're not good enough, start telling yourself that you're a work in progress, you are learning and you are growing. It is not something that just happens overnight, but it's something that is worth doing. So start encouraging yourself, telling yourself positive things. And then another is perfectionism. I'm very guilty of this one, because I'm predominantly a melancholy, so we are perfectionists. We like living in an idealistic world. And the world is not like that. This is a realistic world. Things don't always happen the way we plan. Even if you have put out the best plans in the world, there's room for emergencies, there's room for exigencies, things we did not plan for. They may just show up. So when we set unreasonably high standards for ourselves, we have set ourselves up to fail. So I feel like instead of us to hold on to perfectionism, we should hold on to progress. Let us start measuring our progress and start celebrating our small wins, our small successes. When we do these things, it helps us to build our confidence to achieve even more. And so even though we don't hit that mark of perfection, we know that we have taken a lot bigger steps than where we used to be. We have moved from where we used to be, and then we celebrate our success and our progress as far as we have gotten to. If fear of failure is there, like, it happens to almost everybody. You feel like, what if I don't achieve what I've set out? What if I come all out like this and tell people I want to do this thing, and in the end it does not work? What if they laugh at me? What if they scorn me? What if they mock me? You're not the first to fail. You're not the first to be mocked. You're not the first to be laughed at, if it even does happen. Because many a times, a lot of the things we fear do not happen. A lot of the things we are hesitant about, they'll say, this one, it may not even happen. They do not happen. Many, 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 in many occasions. So go out there, stretch yourself, take on new opportunities, take on new challenges, and then let your old wins propel you forward. Let them be that motivation for you to push a lot further. Also, I would say take action. If you do not take action, everything we have said, everything we have discussed here will be a total waste. Everything will be in vain if you do not take action. So please take action. I feel like taking action is the best step to overcoming fear. You can start small, but take those steps that you need to achieve what you do need to achieve. And then each small step, when you take them, will build confidence within you as you take steps and make progress. It will build confidence within you to achieve even more. That confidence that you built now will help you to be able to manage and tackle greater challenges that may come in the future. I want you to remember that overcoming fear is a journey. It is not a one-off event. It's not a walk in the park, and it takes a lot of practice and a lot of persistence to build the confidence and the resilience that is needed to achieve success. So I would say don't let fear hold you back. Embrace the unknown and do it afraid.